everybody here knows this. You guys have been coming around long enough, and you know how I feel about things. But my own sense is that it has nothing to do with belief, really, because it doesn't have anything to do with provability. It has to do with, or put it this way, it's the use of belief, energies of well-being can be kind of stimulated or catalyzed through the idea that someone is alive. You know, this is what visualization in Tibetan Buddhism and all of that's based on. You know, like if you imagine Padmasambhava is in front of you, or the Buddha, and you visualize it intensely, you feel Padmasambhava's presence. And then if you forget about the image and you let it go, that feeling sense, that presence is still there. And you recognize, you know, in Tibetan teaching, that Padmasambhava is inseparable from your own mind. Once that starts, that flow is there. That is Padmasambhava. There's no need to think about the person Padmasambhava, or even if the Padmasambhava really lived or not. All irrelevant. All irrelevant, and irrelevant because never can be proven. And so if we're going to be appealing to the part of the mind that wants to know, did he really live? Then that part of the mind, you can't prove it. So, or how, or was he really like that? Or who knows? And it's not necessary. But the feeling presence of Padmasambhava is Padmasambhava. And so in that way, same thing with the love for your aunt, and whether she really, I mean, it's like, does my father really hear me when I speak to him? Well, I can feel sometimes like he does. And it's sort of like a wish that if he's able to receive any kind of comfort from knowing that his son loves him, I want to send that out. And if he doesn't, then the feeling of sending out love to the thought of my father, or the memory of my father, or something like that, is in itself a catalyst for a feeling of love or connectedness. Talk about atheism. It's interesting. Like I heard Neil deGrasse Tyson. I don't know if you've heard him speak about atheism.
No.
Well, he says, he can't call himself an atheist because of what it means in people's minds now. He said, it doesn't just mean that you don't believe in God now. It means that you're somehow have a thing about it. So even though he doesn't, he's a science man, and he doesn't seem to be religious or anything. He's like, whatever people want to believe, they can believe. But when it comes to science, let's be clear. Like he's no nonsense. He's very. So the whole thing about atheism, it only means something if it's like whatever arguments, when people who are that kind of atheist, not whatever. And believe me, I was raised it's funny, I was raised sort of Catholic and then very atheist. I went through phases. They literally said, we sent you to catechism because we wanted you to have an education in morals, but that's all. We don't believe any of it. That's what they told me after I got out. Now, of course, that led to like feeling very betrayed. Like, how could you? Why did you do that to me? I felt foolish. Like, I believed it because you told me, and you didn't. We don't believe it. And of course, that led me to become religious later as an act of rebellion. But I think that there's a certain kind of atheism that's a kind of statement of independence from all the organized religion that is, kind of, and also certain superstitions and not wanting to be controlled, and of, a validation of science. All of those really, what I think, are great values in themselves, but don't necessarily mean that you don't. Anyway, the argument that you can't prove it is a very good one, and it's not one that has any relevance at all to my spirituality. Like, I'm not doing my spirituality because I can prove it. I'm doing it because of the effects that it has when I do it, and has had. So in terms of connecting with your aunt, we don't know anything ultimately, but we know it's an act of goodwill to connect with her, to think of her, to even maybe speak to her if you feel moved to. But there's no obligation there either. And it doesn't seem like she would mind if you didn't talk to her, if she was actually there still to hear it. So there's no problem, right?
No.
How do you feel hearing what I'm saying?
Oh, and it feels right. I just think it. I realize it's not like I feel like I need to talk to her to tell her that I love her, because she knows she knew that. I mean, that's it on that level. But on the other hand, she is somebody who taught me about love. So, there may be in my moments of darkness that to have that as one of the energies that is inspiring.
Yeah.
So,
right. Yeah. Asking her for help.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.